Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Masterclass Basics. Thanks so much for joining. Alrighty, hope everybody's having a great week so far. I guess it is Friday. We have a birthday today. My daughter turned 17, so now I have officially two 17-year-olds, which I'm not really sure how I'm handling that very well, but I'm not handling it well at all. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that before I cry. So we are doing the Food Noise Dropout Masterclass on March 24th. You can get into the Diet Dropout Club and join for the masterclass. And then, of course, you get a fun little dropout goodie bag or survivor kit or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I want to call it a goodie bag. My grandmother used to always give us goodie bags. Maybe that's what I'll call it, is a goodie bag, because it's kind of sentimental to me. Sorry, let me silence because that'll get annoying. So, alrighty, I was driving to the airport to pick my husband up, and I was listening to this podcast, and I've never heard this podcast before. I always try to see what, not just see what other people are talking about, but really, it's nice for me to hear other coaches speak about the things that I'm speaking about. Sometimes because I need it for a perspective, honestly, for myself, but also for, it brings me a little bit of something different that I can bring to the table. And this last couple of weeks in Fat Loss Basics group coaching, I have shifted into my method, which is all tangible outcomes. And if you're not really sure what that means, it means we are defining success essentially, or we are making sure, kind of like school, right? Where you can't do long division before you do addition, right? We can't go into a fat loss phase if the scale sends us on a tizzy every single time we weigh in and the scale goes up, or it doesn't do what we think it should do, along those lines. And so now everything has kind of what we would call a tangible outcome. There's no kind of. These tangible outcomes I have already made. And then we can also, depending on where people are at, create our own, right? I have some people who are just making sure that we're consistent doing our laundry, because if we don't do our laundry, then it makes our bedroom living hell, and it makes us not want to sleep well and all the things. So that's going to trickle effect down to our health, which seems kind of silly, but this is the reality. I have other people who are really just trying to work on water or eat a little bit more at home, right? And one thing that I think was definitely a shift, this is the first week now that we have been using these quote unquote tangible outcomes as guides, as ideas, as what we're going to talk about today. It starts with an S. And it was a little bit different because people, struggled with that a little bit. Like, oh, wait a minute. And it's not ever that we didn't have, quote unquote, these tangible outcomes before, but now they're kind of like what we're basing everything on. Like, are we ready for the next step if we haven't completed this step yet? And I've often talked about how the brain likes specificity. The brain loves to know exactly what to expect, because it doesn't like ambiguous. It doesn't like lethargic things and thinking, because what it does is it tries to close the brain loop all on its own. And a lot of times I hear women come into my space and they'll say things like, I want to feel better. I want to eat healthier. I want to eat more at home. I want to work out more. I want to get in more steps. I know I need to eat more protein. I need to eat more fiber. I want to eat more fruits and vegetables. I want to feel more confident. And here's the bigger issue. These are all acceptable things to want. I think it's great. This is kind of where we begin realizing I need to change, right? So this is a big piece of our journey. However, the problem with just utilizing these only specific things and not moving forward with anything else is it's too vague, right? Your brain doesn't understand what eat healthier means. And I'm going to tell you, what I think and you think are not the same. And I notice this every single day on TikTok when I tell people that I eat gummy bears every day, or that Oreos are just fine to eat. Oh my God, there's poison in there. My eat healthier definitely is not some people's version of eating healthier. For me, eating healthier, that could look vastly different for a new person that is trying to eat a little bit, quote unquote, better from what their diet is. Well, if their diet, meaning the food that they eat, is where I started, well, yeah, they're going to think that what I do might be a little bit different or whatever their case is. Okay. And so the problem with not being specific is your brain doesn't understand what that is. Okay. Your brain doesn't understand what does work out more mean, or what does eat more fiber? How does that look? What does that mean to you? Because healthy or eat more of, or move more, or do this more compared to what? Compared to who? Compared to last week? Compared to last year? Right? So your brain needs very specific actions. It doesn't need vague intentions. And until you can turn that intention or the vagueness into a very clear standard, you're going to struggle, because now we don't know what we're actually striving for. So here is one that we can talk about often. I hear this all the time in conversations and goals. I just really need to feel better. Right? I get on the phone with a woman. I just want to feel better. I want to feel better in my body. I just feel like crap. Oh, okay. So what does feel better mean? Does that mean more energy? Does that mean less bloating? Does that mean you want to sleep more? Does that mean you want your clothes to fit better? Right? Does that mean you want a better relationship with your spouse, your children? Or I want to eat healthier. Awesome. What does that mean? More vegetables? Less processed food? Maybe it's less Oreos, just not no Oreos. Right? More home cooked meals, less eating out. What does that mean? Okay. I want to eat more at home. I love that. How many days a week do you want to do that? How many meals a week do you want to eat at home? I want to work out more. More than what? More than 0 times a week? More than once a week for 30 minutes? How many times? What kind of workouts do you want to do? Right? And I can go on and on and on. And this is the problem, is that they're all vague. They're goals, which is great to have a goal. I want a goal. My goal is to lose weight. Awesome. What does your brain do with that? How do you know what your next step is? Right? That's a goal, not a standard. And what brought me back to this piece that I think is huge, because it came up a couple times in check-ins today, and I was able to actually use this analogy, and I loved it, is the coffee shop analogy. And again, this is an analogy that I heard on another podcast, and she heard it on another podcast, and she said she doesn't remember where she heard it, which is fine. But I'm also claiming this not as mine, just so everybody's clear. I'm not claiming this as my own. So, okay, hang on, I gotta close out of that. Okay, sorry. So the coffee shop analogy is this. Oh, wrong thing. Okay. Imagine you are a barista at a coffee house, and I walk in and you ask, what can I get for you? And I say, I would like a brown coffee that tastes good. And you're going to stare at me and you're going to go, a brown coffee that tastes good? What? Like, what are you talking about? Okay. What are you supposed to do with that? Do I want a brown coffee that's hot? A brown coffee that's cold? Do I want a latte, a cappuccino, an Americano? Do I want a drip? Do I want a cold brew? Do I want decaffeinated? Do I want double shots? Do I want, cold foam? Do I want drizzle? Do I want sugar-free cookie dough syrup? Do I want caramel syrup? Do I want vanilla syrup? Brown sugar syrup? Because that tasting good is very subjective. What you might think is good probably is not what I think is good, right? There's no clear instructions for you. I'm just going to give you this very blanket thing, make it brown and make it taste good. And now you're going to use your best guess. And if I had to take a shot in the dark, people would never know what I drink. So what would your guess for me be? Okay. But if I were to walk in and you're like, hi, how could I help you? And I was like, I want a grande vanilla latte, 2 shots of espresso with a drizzle of caramel on top. Boom. You know exactly what to get me. You know the size, you know the type of drink, you know details about it. You know the little finishing touch on the top with the caramel drizzle. It's clear, it's specific, and it's actionable. And that's the difference between a goal and a standard. A goal is, I want coffee that tastes good. The standard is, I want a grande vanilla latte with 2 shots of espresso with a little bit of a drizzle on top of caramel. Okay? So let's break down the difference between a goal and a standard. A goal is a bigger picture. This is the outcome that you're working towards. Could be losing weight, could be feeling better, could be having more confidence, could be getting healthier or getting stronger or feeling better. Like I already said that. Sorry. And that's great. Those are goals, and we need to have those because we do need kind of this bigger picture, zoomed out space. We want to know, what am I working towards? Maybe it's a collective of those, but it doesn't tell me what you need to do, right? And a standard is a specific way that you're going to behave. A standard is a specific behavior that you're going to execute. A standard is a specific response to the goal. It's a specific action towards it. So this could be eating protein at every meal, or it could be even more specific once we get there, eating 120 grams of protein a day. Maybe it's, I need to drink water every hour. Then it can even get more specific. I'm going to drink 80 ounces of water a day. It could be, I need to be in bed by 8:42 p.m. 5 nights a week while I have to wake up and train people. Maybe it's, I need to strength train 4 times a week for 30 minutes with my program. Maybe it's, I'm going to eat 4 home cooked meals for dinner a week. This is something that your brain can actually visualize and attain and understand. It's clear, it's specific, and it's measurable. Okay, you know what to do, and most importantly, you know if you did it or you did not do it. And that's the bigger key here, because your brain doesn't know, like, oh, I feel better, right? And I'm going to use some check-ins today that I had that go specifically into this piece. I feel like I ate really good. I feel like I ate really good. Where's the standard? What was the standard? What was the measurable, tangible outcome that we can actually know if what you ate was good? And again, what does good mean? What does that even mean? You're good, my good, Tammy down the street. I don't even know if there's a Tammy down my street, but cool. What does that mean? So if it's like, I just want to eat good, or I had another one that came through today that was, hang on a second. I'm like kind of like, do I need to go back in to some of the trackers? Because this is how I'm keeping track, is like we actually have, right? One of them's like, yeah, instead of tracking my food, I just need to make more food at home. Oh, okay. What does that mean? What does that look like to you? What does eating more food at home mean to you? How do we do that? How many days are we doing that? How many meals are we doing that? Right? These are just 2 examples, and I have a third, but I think you get the point here, right? So when we say, I just want to eat healthier, you're just like, okay, great. What do I do now? What do I do? It's just like, kind of like guessing. And this is why it's like, oh, maybe I'll eat a salad one day. I'll skip dessert. Maybe you drink your greens that you supplement that you bought, even though you don't eat fucking vegetables, right? But there's no consistency. There's no measurable way of understanding, am I doing what I said I was going to do? Because you can't measure good or better. So how do you know if you're eating healthier? What is the metric? What's the baseline? And what are you comparing it to? So with a clear standard, you have no idea if you're making progress. You don't know if you're holding yourself accountable. If your goal is to work out more, how do you know if you're doing it? If you worked out 1 time this week, is that more? If you worked out 5 times this week, is that more? So without a clear standard, without a clear, tangible outcome, there is no accountability. You don't know if you need to adjust, right? And again, this is a lot of what I'm seeing during check-ins, even today. So we are setting these tangible outcomes. So one of the third example I'm going to give is I gave, she was supposed to eat, hang on a second. It's the most recent check-in I did too. We were talking about how many times she was going to eat out a month, but also tracking food 3 times a week on work from home days. This was the standard. So I went into her tracker. Did she do that? No. Did she hit the standard? No. Now we know, okay, why didn't we hit the standard? And what, if something, do we need to adjust? Or is it just doing it? Is it just executing? I could have, I just didn't. Okay, now we know what we need to change, if anything. Is the standard too high? Okay, so understanding that your brain can tell you like, okay, yes, we're working towards it. I can visually see progress, or we're not. And that was something that we talked about on the person where it was like, I'm going to track my food. And then it became, well, I just need to eat more at home. Okay. So again, this is where we have to understand, when do we push and when do we pause? And this is why having a coach to kind of pull you off ledges sometimes is super beneficial, because it's like, okay, is that really unrealistic for you not to track your food? Like, is there something so upheaving in your life, or are you just feeling like it's really hard? Or are you getting caught up in all the metrics of everything, right? If that's the case, we have to go backwards and say, okay, we're not ready for a deficit then. We're not ready. We need to go back to the basics of making sure that our food relationship is good, instead of getting caught up in, I didn't hit my protein, or I went over, I didn't get my fiber in today. All it's doing is giving us information. So if you're a person that's like, man, that just sounds like me, how do you turn this vague goal into a clear standard? Let's talk about it. We're going to start with the goal. What's the biggest outcome you want? Let's say, I want to feel better. Awesome. Let's get specific. What does better mean? Does better look like more energy, less bloating? Does it mean you're sleeping better? Does it mean you're getting stronger? Does it mean you have less aches and pains in the morning? Does it mean that you feel like you have more energy? Let's pick one. I want more energy. Okay. Identify the behavior that's going to create that outcome. What behavior, if you do it consistently, will give you more energy? Sleep, protein, movement, hydration. What is it going to be? Pick one. Probably sleep and hydration, to be honest. Now, what's the standard? If I need to get more sleep, what does a measurable outcome need to be in order for me to execute, to understand right now that I'm not getting enough sleep? Well, I'm staying up every night until 11:30 p.m. Awesome. Okay. Maybe I need to be in bed before 10:45 p.m. every night. So if every night I'm staying up till 11:30, there's my baseline. And now I need to get into bed by 10:45, 5 nights a week. This is the standard. The standard isn't sleep better or get more sleep. In bed by 10:45, 5 nights a week is the standard. It's clear, it's specific, and it's measurable. And then the next week we can say, how many nights a week did we get there? Did we only get there 4? Did we get there 0? And why? What are we doing that's not getting us to this standard? Okay. So when we are setting clear standards, we know exactly what we're supposed to do. Our brain knows exactly what to do. It doesn't have to guess. It's not vague. You know exactly what you're supposed to do. You can measure it. Did I hit it? Yeah. Or no, I didn't. You get to hold yourself accountable because you're like, okay, I didn't do these things. And then you can see, do I need to adjust? And a lot of times why people don't like doing this is because it really holds up a mirror. It's harder to hide behind, I need to get better sleep or more sleep. Oh, okay. But if your standard is I need to get into bed by 10:45 and I didn't do that, oops. Now you're either hitting that standard, you're hitting that specific tangible outcome, or you're not. And that's uncomfortable because that means you have to face the truth that you don't want to hear or that you don't want to see or you don't want to deal with. And you have to be honest about whether you're actually putting in the work. Hence, where this is that whole, yes, this is hard. Yes, this is difficult. But are you doing the things that you need to do? Because that's the entire point. You can't make progress if you're not honest about what the fuck you are or are not doing. And you can't be honest if your standards are just vague goals. Okay. So this is now every single person that comes into Fat Loss Basics group coaching gets an actual video and we go over where we think we are. Which standard are we working towards? Like, if you were to go now, everybody has a client tracker, and this is literally tangible outcomes by phase. This is the first phase. Goes X weeks without starting over on Monday. Makes it through X amount of weekends in a row without spiraling. Again, spiraling could probably be defined more if I'm going to be super honest here. Okay. Eating something, quote, off plan, AKA bad, right? And continues at the next meal X% of the time. So this is where I put in my little messy middle, no big deal, or no big deal. I call it the no big deal, but it's the next best decision framework. What's the next best decision? How many times are we doing that, right? Hits protein target X amount of days a week. Hits sleeps X amount of hours a night consistently and wakes up feeling good, refreshed, with energy. Drinking X amount of water. Has X go-to meals that feel easy and repeatable so that way when life gets crazy, you are prepared, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this particular client, they use the breakfast, lunch, dinner tracker that I have created for them. Their goal was to track 6 out of the 7 days this week. They did not do that this week. Now, why? Now we have to get to this. So the other cool thing about it is it's very malleable. This tracker I can add, I can take away. Wherever you're at, we can plug and play exactly what you need, which is the coolest fucking thing about it. So if this sounds like something you're interested in and you want to join the messy middle, that was a masterclass a long time ago. If you want to join the Food Noise Dropout Masterclass, let's do it. Okay. You have to go into the Diet Dropout Club in order to get into the masterclass. It is $37 a month. It is $1.23 a day. $1.23 a day. And some of you, as I use this coffee analogy, are literally spending $2 every time you get your little protein cold foam. Okay. I'm just saying. So $1.23 a day. I would love to have you in there. I think that this is a huge missing piece about why women feel stuck in cycles, about why women start over every single Monday. And let's put an end to this. Like, let's move you in a direction. Okay. All right. I will talk to you guys on the next episode, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Michigan's weather is trying to get back on its medication and balance itself out. It's a little bipolar right now, but we're doing it. We're working it. We're, trying to stay healthy essentially because this temperature swing is really cray-cray. So, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will catch you on Tuesday's episode.